The Bloodline's booking on SmackDown criticized the best and worst of WWE SmackDown, a big mistake with Sami Zayn on SmackDown, why Charlotte Flair chose Tiffany Stratton, why Damian Priest advanced to Elimination Chamber, Alexa Bliss and Wyatt Sicks update. Let's dive right in. The best and worst of WWE SmackDown. Naomi and Damian Priest qualified for the Elimination Chamber by winning their matches on SmackDown. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens cut dueling pre-taped promos, but Zayn still didn't understand why Owens was mad. The prizefighter explained why Zayn helped Roman Reigns in the Rumble last week, but didn't stop Cody Rhodes from dumping him headfirst onto a steel ladder. Carmelo Hayes got another win over R-Truth. The Motor City Machine Guns and Los Garza had a decent match, but Street Profits vowed to shake things up with another angry promo. Both teams will probably interfere when Pretty Deadly challenges DIY on next week's SmackDown. Alexa Bliss ran into her old nemesis, Nia Jax, backstage. More glitches aired during their conversation. The latest episode had more misses than hits. Here's the best and worst of SmackDown. Number 1. Worst, Naomi beats Chelsea Green. With the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event in Canada, it would have been nice for Chelsea Green to participate in the match. She hasn't before and is one of the most entertaining women in wrestling. She lost cleanly to Naomi on SmackDown, putting both women's tag team champions in the Chamber contest. With the loss, Green is 1-3 since winning the United States title. She's been pinned in 2 of those 3 losses. Green may still be on the event card, but another match with Michin isn't necessarily going to set the world on fire. Naomi and Belair have been all over programming. Both didn't need to be in the match. If Raquel Rodriguez beats Roxanne Perez on Raw, 4 of the 6 spots will be the same as last year. Number 2. Worst, Shinsuke Nakamura is the third wheel in his own SmackDown segment, United States Champion. Shinsuke Nakamura finally got some time in front of a live SmackDown crowd. He received a full entrance and some mic time, but that quickly changed once LA Knight came out. Knight correctly reminded everyone that he only failed to regain the title because of Bloodline interference. The Miz then came out and called the Megastars act tired before clamoring for a shot at the US title. The match was fine, but it again put Nakamura in the background on SmackDown. Knight won and will presumably get a rematch before WrestleMania 41. Number 3. Best. Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, and Jacob Fatu opened SmackDown. Cody Rhodes opened SmackDown as he usually does as the undisputed WWE champion. He mentioned that with Jey Uso picking Gunther for the show of shows, all eyes will go to the winner of the Elimination Chamber match. He gave the qualified competitors good intros, but merely said Drew McIntyre's name. This brought out the Scottish Warrior, and while he called Rhodes out for this, he did not attack him. Jacob Fatu came out and vowed to bring the title back to his family. As he said that, Solo Sikoa showed up in an all-white suit at the arena. Both men looked angry since Solo walked out on Fatu and hit Cody with a spike last week. The funny part was Rhodes running into the Samoan wereworld, and Fatu simply putting his arm out to say he was talking to Solo first. This segment was grounded, using subtle lines and gestures to convey each man's intentions. Number 4. Worst. The first development in finding Jade Cargill's attacker. SmackDown. General Manager Nick Aldis made a big deal about receiving an anonymous tip about Jade Cargill's attack. It's the first clue in 3 months, and it's baffling that it's still a thing. If the attack was to set up a WrestleMania program, it should have happened last month. Not having news for months is a joke. When Aldis played the footage, it didn't appear for a few seconds. After about 10 seconds, all people could see was Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez walking toward the building. Naomi and Bianca Belair immediately claimed they knew Morgan and Rodriguez were the attackers. While it takes the spotlight off them as potential culprits, why weren't they fleeing the scene? The champs said they'd go to Raw, again, to confront the supposed attackers. It's been a lazily handled angle. Number 5. Best. Main event mayhem. Damian Priest earned a spot in the Elimination Chamber after surviving a SmackDown match with Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. The clash was filled with bodies colliding, mayhem around the ring, and some developments around Solo Sikoa's return. Fatu almost ended Strowman's career again, but the monster of all monsters stopped it from happening. After Solo came down to hit Strowman with a spike, Rhodes rushed down to the ring. Interestingly, Cody ducked, and Sikoa blasted Tama Tonga with the spike. It enraged Fatu, and led to another big loss for the Samoan werewolf. Number 6. Worst. Charlotte Flair's WrestleMania decision. WWE always makes a big deal about Royal Rumble winners choosing an opponent for WrestleMania. Jey Uso had 3 segments full of yeeting on 3 consecutive shows before selecting Gunther as his target. It made sense, given their 2024 rivalry and Jey's failure to beat the ring general in every attempt. After Stratton's win via disqualification, Flair waltzed out to the ring and sat on a chair. The Queen merely said she was choosing Stratton for her opponent. It felt sluggish compared to how Bayley's situation played out last year. There were betrayals to deal with, adding brevity and emotion to the decision. Flair's choice felt like a run-of-the-mill moment instead of one that should have been earth-shattering. Number 7. Best and worst. Tiffany Stratton withstands Jax for most of her match. Anyone who doubted if Tiffany Stratton could hold her own as champion has to reconsider that thinking after her performances as champion. Tiffy has had great matches with Naomi, Bayley, and Nia Jax. She can hold her own with the top stars in the division and even battle one of the biggest women in wrestling. Jax has improved, but Stratton took to wrestling very quickly. Candice LeRae eventually interfered, causing a DQ. Since she didn't win, this will likely lead to yet another title opportunity for Jax. One good thing was that Trish Stratus jumped from the crowd to stop the post-match beatdown. Although squashed, she agreed to team up with the champ to face Jax and LeRae at Elimination Chamber in Toronto. A big mistake with Sami Zayn on SmackDown. Sami Zayn popped up on WWE SmackDown this week. He appeared via satellite to provide an update on his medical condition. Zayn promised to sort out his differences with Kevin Owens upon his return. During a recent episode of Brodown on Backstage Pass, Vince Russo had some things to say about Sami Zayn's promo from SmackDown. The former WWE writer pointed out how Zayn was not wearing a neck brace despite suffering a neck injury. Sami is sitting there at home. He's gonna be out for a while and he's got nerve damage in his neck. Where's your neck brace, bro? And I'm not talking about the gimmick ones. Give me a real neck brace. Bro, if you've got nerve damage on your neck, it just happened, and you're gonna be out for a while. You're probably wearing a neck brace, bro. While Sami Zayn didn't provide a timeline for his WWE return, he did imply he'd go after Kevin Owens after his comeback. It remains to be seen when these two former best friends will confront each other next on the road to WrestleMania 41. Why Charlotte Flair chose Tiffany Stratton. During the latest episode of WWE SmackDown, another significant match for WrestleMania 41 was made official. This transpired when the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble winner, Charlotte Flair, made her presence felt and confirmed Tiffany Stratton as her WrestleMania opponent. This assures that the Queen will challenge the WWE Women's Champion at the Showcase of the Immortals, making this an exciting clash for the WWE Universe to witness. Let's discuss why Charlotte chose Tiffany as her opponent for this year's Show of Shows. Tiffany Stratton has been getting a rather positive reaction from the live crowd whenever she appears. However, she still needs a push and further elevation as a star on the main roster. As for Charlotte Flair, the Queen is not only a multi-time women's champion, but also one of the most popular and widely recognized female superstars in WWE. Getting Charlotte to take on Tiffany in a match at the grandest stage of them all seems like a strategic decision to elevate Stratton's status on the main roster. Fans will now be eager to see whether Tiffany can retain her gold, or if Flair will add another title reign to her already historic record as a women's champion. If Stratton manages to defeat Flair, she will solidify herself as a dominant champion on the Showcase of the Immortals this year. Overall, this matchup seems designed to give the 25-year-old star a major spotlight. The other option Charlotte Flair had besides Tiffany Stratton was the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley, on WWE Raw. However, the reason Flair may have chosen Stratton could be that she has already faced the Eradicator twice at WrestleMania. Their first clash took place at WrestleMania 36, where the Queen dethroned Rhea Ripley as the NXT Women's Champion. Later, at WrestleMania 39, Ripley got her revenge by defeating Flair to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. Given that Flair and Ripley have already had 2 WrestleMania encounters, WWE may have preferred to book Flair versus Stratton instead of another Flair versus Ripley showdown for the Show of Shows this year. Tiffany Stratton still has a lot to prove on the main roster, which could be why the Queen chose her as her WWE WrestleMania 41 opponent. Charlotte may view Tiffany as a weaker champion compared to Rhea Ripley, and might believe she is easier to defeat than the Eradicator. Hence, Stratton's underdog position as the buff Barbie could be another factor behind this decision by the multi-time women's champion. WrestleMania 41 will let the fans know if the Queen's choice was the right one. Why Damian Priest advanced to Elimination Chamber. Damian Priest prevailed in a chaotic triple threat match involving Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman to book his spot in the men's Elimination Chamber. The Archer of Infamy had a tall task, and through some luck, he advanced. The former World Heavyweight Champion shared the ring with Cody Rhodes to close the show as both men shook hands as a sign of respect. In a triple threat that featured an unstoppable monster like Fatu and a former world champion like Strowman, it is intriguing why WWE booked Priest to advance to the men's chamber match. Damian Priest has been on the receiving end of a sizable push. His World Heavyweight Championship run was the beginning. Priest owns multiple wins over Finn Balor and took Gunther to the limit several times. Considering that momentum was on his side, it made little sense for the Punisher to lose such an important match. The win over Fatu and Strowman will continue his push. It is interesting to note Priest's interaction with Rhodes, the top babyface of SmackDown and current WWE champion, to close the show. Sharing the ring with the American Nightmare is a testament to Hunter's faith in Priest. Solo Sikoa accidentally took out Tama Tonga before being confronted by Jacob Fatu, allowing Damian Priest to capitalize and eventually nail Braun Strowman with the South of Heaven chokeslam for the pinfall win. Hence, the finish was designed to protect the Samoan Werewolf, one of the most protected stars. It is also too soon to put the WWE Championship on Fatu. Therefore, he would have been pinned if he had advanced into the men's Elimination Chamber match. Therefore, Priest advancing into the men's chamber match is also a pro-Fatu decision designed to preserve the Samoan Werewolf's aura. In an unexpected twist, Drew McIntyre was unceremoniously eliminated by Damian Priest in a botched spot in the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble. Soon after the elimination, various media outlets reported that WWE was planning McIntyre versus Priest for the show of shows. The Scottish Warrior defeated LA Knight and Jimmy Uso in a triple threat last week to book his spot in the men's Elimination Chamber match. Priest also advanced into the chamber bout. With both men in the chamber match, the Archer of Infamy and the Scottish Warrior can continue their feud. Priest could eliminate McIntyre, setting the stage for their rumored Mania match. Alexa Bliss and Wyatt Sicks update. A major update has emerged during tonight's episode of WWE SmackDown regarding the status of Alexa Bliss and the Wyatt Sicks. Alexa Bliss made her return to WWE at the Royal Rumble after 2 years away and is now back to being a full-time member of the SmackDown roster. Also, members of the SmackDown roster are the Wyatt Sicks, who were transferred from Raw a few weeks ago. Original plans for Bliss's return, a couple of weeks before she actually came back for the Royal Rumble, involved her interacting with the Wyatts on the January 13th episode of Raw. However, those plans were canceled as she was involved in a contract standoff with WWE, which has since been resolved. As of tonight's WWE SmackDown, it appears plans for Bliss and the Wyatt Sicks to be involved with each other are back on. In a backstage segment tonight, Bliss was in conversation with Nia Jax when the trademark static screen effect of the Wyatts appeared on screen. Bliss, of course, has plenty of history with Bray Wyatt and had interactions with Uncle Howdy in the couple of weeks before her absence began in early 2023. She also used to be tag team partners with Wyatt Sicks member Nikki Cross. During her conversation with Jax, Bliss appeared to tease that the two could end up in a match against each other at WrestleMania 41, which, if it happens, would be a rematch from Mania 34. Bliss will be in action in the Women's Elimination Chamber match on March 1st, having qualified with a win against Candice LeRae last week. The Bloodline's booking on SmackDown criticized. The Bloodline story took a new turn on WWE SmackDown this week. Solo Sikoa inadvertently took out Tama Tonga with a Samoan spike during the triple threat main event match. The accidental attack seemingly caused a rift between Solo and Jacob Fatu. Speaking of Tama Tonga, Vince Russo wasn't a fan of the new Bloodline members' booking on this week's episode of The Blue Brand. During a recent episode of Bro Down on Backstage Pass, the former WWE writer criticized the company for how they've booked Tama as of late. There were 2 spots tonight where people got buried, and I'll tell you right off the bat, we first got Fatu music and entrance. Tama Tonga is coming out with Jacob Fatu, but it's Jacob Fatu's video wall, so now Tama Tonga is a nothing. He's a nobody, he continued. If you booked this correctly, he should have meant just as much as Jacob Fatu. But now Tama Tonga is an afterthought. So you're either burying the guy on purpose or you don't know what the freak you're doing. It remains to be seen how Triple H books Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga in the lead up to the April Premium Live event.